A very good morning to all the students of class 9. I hope you all have seen part 1 of chapter 5, The Happy Prince, from the book Moments. Now, moving ahead with the part 2, let us begin. I am waited for in Egypt, said the swallow. My friends are flying up and down the Nile and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep. See what the bird replied, that it had to go to Egypt and its friends, they were waiting for it. And the bird said that its friends were in Egypt and they were flying near the Nile River, and they were talking to the large lotus flower which grew there, and so soon they would go to sleep, and so it wanted to reach Egypt at the earliest. The prince asked the swallow to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. The boy is so thirsty and the mother so sad, he said. The statue, he requested the swallow bird to stay with him for one night, and he asked him to be his messenger. And what he said, that the boy was very thirsty and his mother was very sad, so it should go over there and give this ruby stone to her. I don't think I like boys, answered the swallow. I want to go to Egypt. See, once again, the swallow opposed his request and said that it did not like boys, and so why should it help that boy? Moreover, it had to go to Egypt. But the happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow was sorry. It is very cold here, he said, but he agreed to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. Thank you, little swallow, said the prince. See, the prince, no, the happy prince, he was so sad that swallow felt sorry for him, and it said that it was very cold also and there, but it would stay with him for one night and the next morning it would do his work. The happy prince thanked him for it. The swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roofs of the town. See, finally, what happened? The swallow, he took out the ruby stone from where? From the happy prince sword, and this bird, it took the ruby in its beak and flew over the town. He passed by the cathedral tower where the white marble angels were sculptured. He passed by the palace and heard the sound of dancing. See, as the swallow was on his way to the poor woman's house, it passed the cathedral, and that is a church. On the church tower, white colored marble angels were sculptured. And then he reached the palace. He crossed the palace and he could hear the sound of dancing from inside the palace. A beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover. I hope my dress will be ready in time for the state ball. She said, I have ordered flowers to be embroidered on it, but seamstresses are so lazy. See what happened when this swallow was crossing over the palace. A girl came out of the balcony along with her lover, and she was hoping that the gown which she had given to the seamstress for embroidering would be ready on time. And she was talking about the same gown on which that lady was doing embroidery and to whom the bird had to give the ruby stone. He passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging on the mast of the ship. Mast means sail of the ship. At last he came to the poor woman's house and looked in. See, when the swallow flew over the rivers, ships also came along the way, and lanterns were hanging on their sails. And finally the bird reached the woman's house. The boy was tossing feverishly on his bed, and the mother had fallen asleep. She was so tired. See what happened. The boy was suffering from fever, and for that reason he was not able to go to sleep, and so he was turning left and right on the bed, and his mother was very tired due to working whole day for a long and had fallen asleep. In he hoped and laid the great ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble. Thimble is a metal or a plastic cap which are with a closed end worn to protect the finger and push the needle in sewing. The swallow put the ruby stone on the table near the thimble. Then he flew gently round the bed, fanning the boy's forehead with his wings. How cool I feel, said the boy. I must be getting better. And he sank into a delicious slumber. Slumber means sleep. After keeping the ruby stone on the table, the bird went near the boy as his mother was sleeping and no one was taking care of him. So it shook its wings near him, because of which the boy could feel the cool air and felt better. The boy felt that he was getting better and he went to sleep. With this, we can make out that the bird was very kind hearted. Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done. See, when what happened, the swallow now he flew back and went to the statue of happy prince and he told everything what he had done over there. It is curious, he remarked, but I feel quite warm now, although it is so cold. See what now the bird felt warm. Why? Because it says that it is very strange that it was a feeling little warm even though when the weather was very cold. That is because you have done a good action, said the prince. See what the prince said, that you have done, you are feeling very warm. Why? Because you have done good deeds and it has helped someone. And the little swallow began to think and then fell asleep. Thinking always made him sleepy. See, after listening to Happy Prince, the bird started thinking, and while thinking only, he felt asleep. Why? Because whenever he thought, he used to feel sleepy. When the day broke, he flew down to the river and had a bath. Tonight I go to Egypt, said the swallow, and he was in high spirit at the prospect. Means it is a thought of something. See, next morning the bird he went to the river and took a bath and thought that night he could reach Egypt, and he was very happy for it. He visited all the monuments and sat a long time on top of the church steeple. Means it is a high tower of the church steeple means. So what happened, the bird he visited all the monument of the city, and he finally went and he did, he sat on a high tower of the church. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. Have you any commissions for Egypt? He cried. I am just starting. See, when it was night and the moon rose in the sky, and the bird he went to Happy Prince and he sought his permission to leave for Egypt. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, will you stay with me one night longer? I am waited for in Egypt, answered the swallow. See what happened. Over here now again the happy prince he requests swallow to stay with him for one more night, and the bird replied that he needed to go to Egypt. Why? Because his friends they were waiting for him. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, far away across the city I see a young man in a garret. Garret means what? A small dark room at the top of the house. So what he said, okay, I could see. Now the happy prince is telling to the bird that in his second work he can see from far away across the city, that he can see a small dark room on the top of a house. A young man, he is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in the glass by his side there is a bunch of withered violets. Withered means worn out. Violets means one kind of a flower. See, and he saw a man, a young man. He is sitting, and he was sitting on a desk on which the papers were spread all over, and he was trying to work very hard. And he had also a glass lying near him, in which all the withered flowers they were lying. His hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as a pomegranate. Pomegranate is a fruit, and he has large and a dreamy eyes. See further what Happy Prince says, that he gave the description of that boy, and what he said, that his hair they were brown and crisp, which meant that he had not taken bath for a long time. His lips they were red like pomegranate, and he had a big dreamy eyes. That means that this boy was very ambitious and hardworking. He is trying to finish a play for the director of the theater, but he is too cold to write any more. There is no fire in the grate, means fireplace. Grate is a place, fireplace, and hunger has made him faint, means weak. Faint means see what he said. Further again he said that to Prince, that this boy he needed to finish his writing a play, and he was a writer, and he had to give the play to the director after writing, but he did not have any strength to write anymore. Why? Because it was feeling very cold, and he had no money, so that is why there was no fire in his fireplace, and he was very hungry also, due to which he was feeling very weak. I will wait with you one night longer, said the swallow, who really had a good heart. He said if he should take another ruby to the young playwright. See what he said over here. The bird understood what Prince was trying to tell him. So he knew that the happy prince wanted to help this boy also. And so he agreed to stay for one more night. And what did the bird ask the happy prince? If he should take another ruby stone to give it to young playwright, the one who writes the play. So just like he had given to that old lady. Alas, I have no ruby now, said the prince. See what did the prince said, that it was very sad that I did not have any more ruby stones with him. My eyes are all that I have left. They are made of rare sapphires which was brought out of thousands of years ago. See the happy prince now what he said now, that he had his eyes which were made of very precious and rare sapphire stone, and that was being brought thousands of years ago from India. So I hope you all have understood till here. In the next part we will see ahead. Thank you.